Welcome to the podcast of St. Basil the Great in Brecksville, Ohio, with homilies, talks, and interviews relevant to your Catholic life. God bless you and enjoy. Welcome back to the St. Basil the Great podcast. I am very excited to be joined here today by our summer interns, Miller and Gracie. Guys, it's great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, so it's about halfway through your summer internship at this point, and so we kind of just wanted to, introduce you a little bit more to the parish. We know that you guys have been around, been doing stuff. Maybe you've seen them around, maybe you haven't, but also give you the opportunity, or give everyone else the opportunity to get to know you a little bit, kind of a little bit about your stories, things that you have coming up and what you've been doing around this summer. So first of all, if you guys want to introduce yourselves, maybe ladies first.
Sure. I'm Gracie. I will be a junior in college in the fall. I'm at the University of Dallas, but I'm from here in Cleveland. So very excited to be home this summer. But I am a theology major, and I have 2 concentrations or minors in classics and biblical Greek. So, yeah.
She's very smart.
Yeah. I didn't do that. I'm Miller. I'm from St. Barnabas. I just graduated, actually, from the Catholic University of America, which is in Washington, D.C. Got my degree in theology and religious studies. And this upcoming year, I'm doing a year of service, actually, in Portland, Oregon, working with the homeless there. So that's what's coming next.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's the gist.
Awesome. Congrats on graduating,
Thank you,
too.
yes.
Yeah. Big feat. So, so you guys are a part of the Mary, Mother of the Good Shepherd Institute.
Yes.
Yeah, really easy title to
Rolls
remember.
off the tongue.
What is it? MMGSI?
MMGSI.
So many letters.
I don't know.
But we were really fortunate to be selected as one of the host parishes for interns this summer, thanks to Andrea, our Children's Faith Formation Director.
Shout out.
She did an awesome job kind of being a part of the interview process, the application process, and finding some really excellent interns for us this summer. And it's been a pleasure to have you guys around. So can one of you explain a little bit about what MMGSI is and kind of what the different things you guys have been doing with the Institute?
It's a new function organization through the seminary run by Dr. Matt Jordan. And yeah, it's just been super lovely. Our internship is supposed to be preparing us to be young leaders in the church, and this in particular to get a sense for parish life, as a staff member, what it looks like to work in a parish and be around a community like that. We do a lot here throughout the week, just kind of doing a little bit of everything. Yeah. So definitely with Andrea as our boss, a lot of summer faith formation. We've got VBS coming up.
Yep. Very excited for that.
Definitely a lot of youth ministry as well, working with Joe, and just literally everything else that goes on around here. This today. Lots of work around here at St. Basil. Yeah. And then maybe you want to talk about our Wednesdays.
Sure, yeah. So with the actual institute itself, they're geared towards more formation for, I think it's generally for adults, but then they're also starting new programs for teens and then for college students to do stuff like what we're doing, to form lay leaders in the church is kind of the idea. And so every Wednesday with our internship, we're at the seminary, there's 18 of us, which is awesome. All college-y age, some a little above, but everyone I think in and around college. And we have a great group of people. It's a lot of fun. And then we have a couple retreats, and then other more fun stuff. But on our actual formation days, which is every Wednesday, we start the day with intellectual formation, which is sort of like class, but a little more informal. But we read stuff, and then we come and we have conversations about it. And then we have mass, and we have lunch, and we have other prayer moments. And then we have spiritual formation in the afternoon. So one of the priests from the seminary comes and just shares. And yeah, it's been really good.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so this internship is meant to be kind of this broad look at parish life. So it's not necessarily like a youth ministry internship. It's not a children's faith formation internship. It's kind of a little bit of everything. And today, I get to have the interns today, and literally Father Ryan came to me and said, I just want you to tell them how your brain works. Yeah. So this morning we went and got coffee, and we just had a big old brain dump of here's all, like a lot of cool things that, parishes are able to do, and like how parishes kind of work in the community, and, different things like that. And so, but I know you guys are going to be spending some time with Randy, our office manager, if you haven't yet, like kind of looking at sacramental records and understanding what that means. And if you guys haven't yet, like spent a little time with music ministry and kind of understanding, I think one of the things he said was like, I'd love for them to like attend a funeral and like just kind of like see like what funeral ministry kind of looks like. And so just like all of the broad strokes of like what parish ministry looks like to help you discern what that is. Yeah. And if that's something you're called to, whether it's, what I do, what Joe does, what Andrea does. But it's been great to have you guys around and just have your smiling faces here in the office.
It's been a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's literally the best.
It's a blessing. So what kind of led you guys to applying for this? Like, like what were some of those things like maybe in your heart that were like this is an awesome opportunity, like for one, like sounds great, like sign me up ish, but also like you guys are both studying some amount of theology, so like what kind of started that desire for studying that?
Yeah, well, for me, as I said, I just graduated, so I'm doing this year of service with the upcoming year. And so I knew I wanted to be home this summer in preparation for that. The last couple summers I've been working for Life Teen in Georgia and one of their camps, which is awesome. But it also means I was only home for half the summer. So it was like, my mom didn't like that very much.
Yeah.
And as much as I loved that work, like I just knew this summer I wasn't being called to do that. So as I was coming home and I knew I wanted to do something around the church, I learned about this program, and I heard about especially like the formation aspect of it and the community aspect of it. And that sounded really, really awesome, as well as like getting to know a little more what it looks like to work at a parish. Because there really are a lot more things you can do with a theology degree than you think.
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of them are at a church
crazy.
And at a parish, right? So it was really exciting to be like, okay, I can go and actually learn what it looks like to be youth minister, to be a DRE, to be children's faith formation. I don't know, all those different jobs. So that was most of what really attracted me to do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, kind of in a similar aspect, like I was a camp counselor at Damascus last summer, and was just like, I loved it. It was the most fulfilling thing I really have ever done. But also it's like, it's so involved. And I know a lot of my friends and a lot of my family here back home like missed me for the entire summer even. And yeah, I was always just super busy in high school. So it's like nice to come home and be like, I'm home for an extended period of time. Like I work and then I like don't have school going on. I don't have like a million other commitments going on. So it's like I can just like be with my friends and family, which is a huge blessing. But also like definitely as a theology major, and like going into my junior year, definitely a lot more of like the discernment aspect of like vocation in like my career, and really thinking about what do I actually enjoy doing? Because I'm definitely a person where it's like I love serving Jesus, however that looks. Like, I don't care if I'm cleaning closets. I don't care if, like, I'm up on stage, like, giving a talk for, like, a life night. It doesn't matter to me. Or, like, just being with people in a, like, more relational ministry sort of thing. Like, I just love it all. I will just do it for fun. I don't care. Mm-hmm. So it's super cool to, like, still be able to do that with this internship. And really do a little bit of everything, be involved in everything, like do the things I like. No, I like to do, discover different like jobs in the church I didn't know existed, and really just sit in prayer and discern like what the Lord is specifically anointing and like what gifts he wants me to step into, going into like my second half of college and starting to think about grad school or what I would want to do post-grad. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really sounds like an incredible opportunity to really get to kind of look at all those things. Cause I know I went into school and this would have been my absolute dream summer. I'm just certain of it. I heard about this internship and I was like, that is exactly what I always wanted to happen when I was in college, because I was pretty sure I liked youth ministry, pretty sure that's what I wanted to do, but I wasn't 100% sure. And yeah, my path has taken me like kind of on a little winding road to youth ministry and then to the diocese and then here to St. Basil doing a little more communications. And, that kind of got sprinkled in and throughout. But being able to, have this time, have this summer to kind of discern, like, what is it, Lord, that you're calling me to? And I really liked, Gracie, how you were saying, like, Lord, like, what gifts in me have you anointed to use for the good of your kingdom? And I think that's something we can all kind of take to prayer, and whether it be like actually working in a parish or just whatever you're doing, if you're a stay-at-home mom, like, what are the gifts like that the Lord has anointed in you to be a stay-at-home mom? And like, can you like take that to prayer, take that question and ask that to be renewed by the Lord in that. If you're in business, in healthcare, like, maybe you're kind of set in your career and it's not necessarily that the Lord is calling you to something new, to drop everything, like drop your nets and follow a whole different way, or like be called to parish ministry all of a sudden. And, maybe for one or two of you, that actually is the case. But for most of us, it's probably not. But we can always ask him, like, Lord, can you remind me, like, why I'm good at this? Like, why you've called me to this? Like, why do I love nursing? Or, if it's a really hard time, like you're like, man, I'm getting really burnt out. Like, I need some help. I need some guidance. I need a break. Lord, like, why did you call me to this? Yeah. Why am I doing this? Like, remind me the gifts that you have given to me for this role. And so, as we kind of pray and discern that, Miller, you were saying that this next year you're going to be doing a year of service working with the homeless. So how did you kind of discern that? And like, what is that going to look? Well, I don't know if you know what that's going to look like.
I know some of it.
Yeah.
Not everything. No, that's a good question. So as I said, I was graduating from Catholic University, which I've been at for the last 4 years. It's an amazing place. A lot of really, really wonderful relationships there. And so as I was going forward, I was like, all right, Lord, where are you calling me? Do you want me to go do further study? Do you want me to just go home and to work? Like, all of those avenues, of course, are open. And as I just kept thinking and praying, he just kept bringing up this desire to like give him just a year where I'm not in school, I'm not working on anything else. I'm just giving him completely a year. And it's kind of unique, of course, because as you're saying, most people can't do that. But I'm in a position where I actually can, right? Because I haven't, started a family or anything or started a job. I really can just go and give him a year. So I was thinking, I was praying, and it was actually while I was at Notre Dame Discerning doing their graduate program that I really felt really called to be like, no, actually the Lord's calling me to go and to give him this year. And so I was in between a couple different programs and different things. I had taken a class on St. Francis and St. Clare, super randomly. And I was reading the Rule of St. Francis, and he talks about, they're living out the gospel practically. Like, that was kind of his thing. And I really felt like, whoa, like, this is really cool. Obviously, like, there's only so much I can do it in my normal daily life. But this year, upcoming year, with the organization I'm doing this year of service with, like, their whole thing is living out the gospel and living out mission in everything you do. And so as I was thinking, I was praying, in particular, to go to the poorest of the poor. And, there's people that are poor in various different ways, and it's very real. But in a particular way, the homeless, right, are just very, I think, forgotten about in our culture and very much sort of pushed aside. And so I felt the Lord inviting me to go and to show them his love. And so I really have only done homeless ministry like once or twice. I have no expertise, but I was like, all right, Lord, if this is what you want me to do, I'm going to do it. So that's how I ended up here. That's
so awesome. And such a gift to just be like, I don't know if I could be like, oh, I've only done a homeless ministry once or twice, but I'm going to follow and say yes and see what this is going to be like, because I feel like there's a lot of fear sometimes around, taking that like big jump, that big leap and going for it. But when the Lord calls and there's that peace there, that really is like, okay, I know you're leading. I know it's going to be fine. I know you're going to protect and guide and help me through this. And so if this is what you're saying, then yes, Lord.
It was a lot of little steps to then the big step being like, wait, I think this is really what you're calling. Okay. It's like, that's how he works.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of like big steps and, going somewhere new, Gracie, you just returned from a study abroad program in Rome, didn't you?
Yeah.
And so maybe what were some of the highlights from that? It's not quite the same as like a pilgrimage, not quite the same as a mission year, but like it's still amazing. And being able to be in Rome and really just get to, be where the, fathers of the church were and just experience all that is amazing.
Yeah. I think the University of Dallas in particular has just like such an amazing like study abroad program, such an amazing Rome program. They're like on an Italian villa, like 10 miles south of Rome, like right by Castel Gandolfo, like where the Pope's summer palace is. It's this like wonderful site. But it's like you're just so close to the city, but like not really in the craziness of all of it. So it's like you get to just like experience like really like a lot of like the peace of like being like where saints have walked, where so much of history has happened, but like, really just have the space to take it all in, which is really beautiful. Our campus is called Due Santi, just the Italian for two saints, dedicated to Saints Peter and Paul, because the like local legend is that we're right on the Via Appia. So the local legend is that Saint Peter and Saint Paul met like in their missions on the road like right outside of our campus. So there's just like a lot of beautiful history of just like being where the saints are, which I just like loved. So much of like the beautiful architecture too of like all of the churches and just being surrounded by like ancient history and like the greatest things that like human minds and human hands have ever put together. And just like that was like a huge highlight for me. It was just like kind of like being renewed and like the way that I like take in art and just like being in these places and like I have the same like intellect and soul gifted as like to me as like that person. It's like we're all humans and it's like people are capable of this, and it's like I think I just heard the Lord speaking so clearly to me that like both I am a cathedral in my own heart with like the things that I like give priority to and like the way that like my heart loves. And it's like when I think about that intentionally, it's like as I like take care of my life and build up my life, it's like I am like building a cathedral for the Lord, which is so beautiful. And just like really, just like being renewed in how I look at art. And just like, a story that I am thinking of is like, I was taking an art and architecture of Rome course, but it starts like with like 3000 BC all the way to like 2003, 2005, like, which is so funny, but it's so much content in such a short amount of time. But it's like, as Catholics, I think we're very comfortable with like, okay, like I'm good with the Renaissance. I'm good with like all of these things that like the depictions are of Jesus and of Mary and of the saints and of biblical stories. But then it's like you get to the certain point where it's like, okay, we're painting landscapes. Like that's fine. That's okay. And then we get to like this modern art and it's like, I don't like it. I just want to like push it away. I don't know how to deal with that. And just like being like, these are all minds created by the Lord for these purposes. And it's like, maybe there's some work that it's like, I'm like, I don't really know what this means, but I'm like, they painted that and I probably couldn't paint that. And like, there's like a certain like craftsmanship that goes into it that I'm like, sure, like I'll recognize that. But also definitely some other things where it's like, we just don't sit and wrestle with art. We don't sit and wrestle with media enough. Because we were also talking like with our internship, we were watching a movie and just like talking about it. And it's like things like that. It's like nobody sits down and like watches a movie and then like talks about it. Talks about like, it's like the directors put so much time and effort into this and you just watch and you're like, oh, that was fun. And then like turn it off. So yeah, really just like being with the art, being with, and like really trying to understand like what people put into this, has helped me to like, appreciate all different kinds of art and has like really opened my mind to like how I think about life, but also like how God creates and how God thinks about us and puts so much detail into the entire world and obviously our lives, which is really beautiful. And then obviously there's so much else with like traveling all around and how much that grows you as a person. But I think that's probably the biggest.
Yeah, I think that is also like a really great reflection of our need for community. Like we need one another. I just read a book and I was kind of complaining. It was kind of weird. But I was complaining to my husband about it. And I was like, this book is so weird and I don't like this, and this about it. I do like part of the story, so I'm not going to just stop reading it. And it's a really easy read, so I'm just going to finish it. Like I'm halfway through or 3/4 of the way through. Like I'm just going to finish it. But like afterward, I was like, I finished the book and I went on my Goodreads to say like, I finished the book. So I could add it to my like, number of books I read this year. And I was going through the reviews of it and I was like reading them and I was like, oh my gosh, this person also thought the exact same thing I was thinking. And like, I was like, okay, I'm feeling like validated in my feelings. Like that actually was like a good critique of the book that I have and not just that. And he asked me the next night, he's like, oh, you're going to finish your book? I was like, oh no, I finished it the other night. And I was like, I told him, I was like, yeah, the ending was like, okay, it was kind of cute, but I was reading that, other people felt the same way I did about the book. And so there was an aspect of like being able to share with him, like, here's like my interpretation of this art. Yeah. But also like, there's also like a greater community that I can, look at and say like, oh yeah, like have similar views of this, this book, this piece of art. Yeah. And I think that one of the things with social media, especially like doom scrolling and like watching reels and things like that, is it has made our attention span really, really short. And it has kind of like hurt us in a way because we just kind of like ingest all of this content, ingest this media. And we don't really like give ourselves like an opportunity to like soak it in and understand it. And the ironic thing about it is that it's literally called social media. Like it's supposed to be like this opportunity to be social, to talk to one another on these platforms about it, and be able to like interact with one another. But sometimes it's like a really isolating place to be. So times when you can go out, maybe not all of us are going to Rome to experience the beautiful artwork, sure. But as you were saying, I was like, we have the Cleveland Museum of Art right here. Yeah. Like being able to go to that, being able to watch a movie like with your cohort and discuss it. Like there's a beautiful thing about that. And like, I know summer can be really busy, but a lot of us also kind of have a little more time in the summer to do that. And so if you're trying to figure out, what to do, like going on a walk as a family in the metro parks, like you got later nights now, sunsetting later, watching a movie together, like, and being able to like take that time after and not just be like, okay, like let's pack up, go to bed. But like, one of the greatest examples that people use when you Google like movies to watch through a Catholic lens is The Lion King, because it shows like the father's love for the son, like I'm giving myself for you, and like just continue to like be good in the world. I actually think Finding Nemo would also be a really good example of the father's love too. And a little, well, actually the first scene of Finding Nemo is actually really terrifying, but a little less scary maybe than The Lion King. But just those kind of things to do, like especially with a family. If you're watching movies, with adults, like maybe not small kids or, just a couple together for the night, Gran Torino is a really good one. And I watched it a couple years ago when I was helping with Tole Lege, and that was like a really good experience of like, okay, like let's actually talk about this after we finish the movie, because it's a beautiful piece of art, but also like the story and understanding, like how can we kind of like look at it through a Catholic lens and like learn from one another the things that stood out to each other, is a really beautiful thing to do as well.
Yeah, on that note, my school, during their orientation week for freshmen, they host a night where they'll buy snacks, they'll do all the things, and they'll invite all of the freshmen to watch Casablanca. And I was super exhausted. I didn't end up going, so forgive me. But I think the University of Dallas also just does that really well, of like connecting like what we do in the class and like discussing texts and engaging with like the church fathers and like all these philosophers, to also the things we do in our free time. And it's like, it's actually really fun to sit down and like watch a movie and then have a discussion about it. And I know a lot of like my classmates were like super impacted by that night. And I know a lot of my classmates still do that like on the weekend, where they'll sit down, pick a movie, watch it, and then just turn to each other and just like talk, which is just like super beautiful. It's like, it doesn't have to be work, and it can just be leisurely and fun just to like give your opinion on it even, but also talk about like the message that like the filmmakers are trying to present and like deeper themes, which is cool.
Yeah.
And it could be art, it could be a book, it could be a movie, but it could also very much be sport. Like, I mean, the World Cup's going on, so maybe you're watching the World Cup and, are there some beautiful moments of like, wow, like look at that pure athleticism, and like, how can we say things like, wow, God has created him like so incredible to be able to make a pass like that, or, just like in praise of like what sport brings and how it brings us all together, or going out and playing together. Like, it's baseball season. So just kind of talking in the way home from the baseball games, and, what was something you did really great this time? What was, a way that you want to work better for next time? Like, what's a way that I can help you to grow and get better? If, that's something you want to do, like, let's go out and play together and just have some nice time together. Or if it's time to, do some service, and, it's summer, it's hot, and we have homeless in Cleveland too. So, can you put together little bags for them and drive around, give some cool water out so they can, and maybe electrolyte packets too, to kind of help them through this summer, and just talk about it as a family or as a couple, as friends, and just kind of share like, what was that like for you, and be a part of community, because I think that's one of the, actually I know that's one of the things God has created us for. He's not created us to be alone. He created us for one another. And so let's be community together, and just kind of use this summer to do that.
For
sure.
Yeah. I felt that with our internship, because the first couple weeks we were there, all of us we didn't really know each other. So we were just kind of like, in our class, kind of talking a little bit, but kind of nervous and like having fun, but we didn't really know each other. And then we did an overnight retreat at the Jesuit Retreat Center, and it was just fun. Like, we just hung out and prayed together, of course, and did more reading and talking about, like, of course, all that good stuff as well. But it's like so easy. Like, we know how to have fun. Like, you just put us together and we'll just figure out some sort of silly game to play or whatever. And that just such an easy way to bring people together. That's just such a practical example recently of seeing that.
For sure.
And if you're looking for something to do, we are going to have the Basil family camp out in July. So you're welcome to join us for that. It'll be a night of fun out on the lawn. And we'll just get to be together in community and put up our tents and enjoy a night under the stars. I think Tommy's got some pretty crazy, but good and exciting and fun.
No. He's got some
games
schemes,
lined
though.
up.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
scheming.
As usual.
Yeah.
So we invite all families to join us for that. And you can find the sign up for that at basilthegreat.org/forms.
Forms.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on the podcast today. This was great to get to know you guys a little bit better, talk about, the importance of community with you guys, and hear about your internship. So thank you guys so much.
Of course. Yes.
And we will see you all in the next podcast. God bless. We hope you enjoyed this podcast from our parish. If something touched your heart, we encourage you to take it to prayer. To be notified of future podcasts, please hit that subscribe button and feel free to share this podcast with a friend. We would love to keep in touch. You can find us at basilthegreat.org. Until next time, St. Basil the Great, pray for us.